And from DS2, your anchorman Jake Smith behind the shiny golden microphone. For those of you watching the stream, you see how beautiful and shiny this microphone is. Coming up in just a moment, we're waiting for our panelist to jump on here, and she, very interesting, she's produced the first feature film on Iraqis who have moved or relocated from Iraq to the suburbs of Detroit. I'm moving papers around here because I've got so much going on. My apologies for you watching the program. If you're listening to the radio, you probably don't know that I'm moving a lot of papers around, so sometimes it's easier or better to be on the radio. All right, let me just checking with our control room. Okay, so, all right. Here we are, my friends, talking about Iraqis who have migrated to the Dearborn Heights section of Michigan, the suburb of Detroit. And it's similar to those from Somalia immigrating to Minneapolis, St. Paul area, very similar situation. But the first Iraqi American feature film uses humor and heart to explore cultural divides in suburban Detroit. Let's welcome the writer and director of this film. Its title is Pomegranate. Her name is Wiam Namu. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. I have a little bit of knowledge about Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. I have family in the area. There has been, I guess, some unsettled feelings about from Michiganders, especially those in the Detroit area, about the number of Iraqis who have migrated and settled in Dearborn Heights, and so forth. So, how much support did you get from non-Iraqis on producing this film?
I actually got more support, except, well, the talent are Iraqis of Iraqi background.
Right.
But I did get the support from non-Iraqis, and it was surprisingly there was a book talk that was canceled by the Muslim community because of the subject matter. And
Really?
yes, and then we had some pushback again from the Muslim community because of its subject matter. But I figure that my Native American teacher used to tell me that if your book is creating any kind of controversy, or your film, at the time I had my book, he said that means that you're telling a very important story.
Well, I think that was very sound advice for an author. What do you think?
I think so. Originally, I was somewhat concerned and surprised by it, and as were the talent, actually, because it is led by women talent. And the Muslim family is Muslim in real life, and the Christian family is Christian in real life. So we actually thought that the way in which we were embracing the story, it's a beautiful story about love and empowerment and assimilation. And honestly, everybody worked on it like a great team. So we were expecting a different response. So that was
Yeah.
surprising, and it was a little bit hurtful. The reason being, there was a report that was recently published about how there was, by the Muslim community, about how there isn't enough stories that represent Muslims, like the good Muslims.
Yeah,
And
positive Muslim stories you're talking
right.
about.
And this is exactly what it's about. But I think the one area that areas that we often don't talk about, that I think is very difficult for our community, and I'm not just the Muslim community, but the Middle Eastern community in general, when it comes to issues of women. I think that's one area that's always, there's some kind of a wall that's placed up. There's, and these are the topics that we discussed. We discussed very, very important topics in a loving and authentic way. And that needs to happen. I mean, you being a host, a radio host or a TV host, or anybody, any author, filmmaker, one of the things that we utilize is the importance of using creativity to tell our stories and the power of that. And so we were trying to do that we were surprised by it. However, we did receive over 50, nearly 60 international film awards from
That is
all over the
amazing. I
world.
saw that in the show notes. I could not believe it. Yeah, widely recognized as the first Iraqi American feature film, Pomegranate has swept over 50 international film awards and caught the eye of the producer of Home Alone, Scott Rosenfeld, who came on board as executive producer. Now, based on Scott's last name, surname, he's probably Jewish, and he got
He
on board with
is.
this project. And he got on board with this project.
He loved it. He loved
Yeah,
it. We had Muslims, we had Christians, we had Jews, we had black, white. Everybody was working together on this project because they love and believed in the story. And that was more important than anything. So whatever did happen or not happen, the positive feedback that we have gotten, and Scott Rosenfeld, I remember he loved the story before he even, the premise of it,
right.
before he even read the script. Then when he read the script, he said, I did not realize there was so much humor in this. And what humor does, in his case, what he felt is that he could relate to the story regardless of his background. So I think humor, authenticity helps us connect with whatever community we're reading about. I mean, I was 9 years old when I read Gone with the Wind. I was living in Jordan and thought that I was
Wow.
going to come to the United States, and I loved the story, thinking I'm going to come here and see, Atlanta, Georgia in the 1800s.
Boy, did
Etc.
you have a surprise when you got off the plane, huh?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. When I tell it, I do get a lot of laughs at that. But that just shows to tell you that storytelling is so powerful that
Right.
sometimes we forget, like, hey, Scarlett O'Hara is not living the same lifestyle that I am, but her feelings, her inner feelings, her world, I can feel something for her regardless. And I think that's what Pomegranate does, and that's why it's gotten so many awards.
We're being joined on the panel this morning, Your News Talk America Digital Interactive Friday, by William Namu, writer, director of the film Pomegranate. Did you shoot this entirely on location in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights?
It was actually shot in Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Okay, not
Sterling
far away.
Heights, it's not far away,
Right.
but it has the largest, this district has the largest Iraqi American population in the entire United States.
Dearborn, in that area, Dearborn Heights, for those of our viewers today and listeners who aren't familiar, that was Ford Motor Company. I mean, the Greenfield Village was there. That was the Ford Museum. That was Ford Motor Company territory, and it's changed quite a bit. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you think Iraqi immigrants in Dearborn consider themselves patriotic Americans? And do you believe they have assimilated into American culture? Because there's general consensus today that those who come from the Middle East immigrate here to the United States. Similar to what's happened in Europe, they don't have any interest in assimilation. What did you find when you were shooting this movie?
Well, I found that, like, again, like the talent that was involved, after the fact, I looked at this and to look at why is the book talk being canceled? Why is there such pushback, the lack of support? And I guess there isn't enough assimilation. And I came to the United States when I was a child in 1981.
Hmm.
My observation and looking into all of this, because we shot the film in 2021,
Okay.
so there was a lot of observation. Unfortunately, a lot of the negative things that have happened in the Middle East, particularly towards women, like with the Taliban, with Iraq lowering the age after so many decades to the age of marriage to 9 years old. So. In observing this, I realized there's a lot that has been changed about the Middle Eastern community, and it's not necessarily the same one that I had left. And the ones from the time that we immigrated here were anxious and
Hmm.
eager to assimilate because we had left a very totalitarian regime. We wanted to come here, and this is for the most part. I mean, I'm Christian, and most of us, the ones that I know that want to come here, do want to assimilate because we came here exactly for what the United States has to offer. What I'm finding out that there is this resistance to assimilate and to hold on to certain ideologies that were never really serving us in the Middle East to begin with, particularly towards women. And that's just a fact. I mean, anybody can if anybody has been to the Middle East, and oftentimes the people that have a different viewpoint, I notice the first thing I ask, have you been to the Middle East? No, but, well, first of all, that alone, I don't think that people are equipped to speak unless they've been there.
I
Have you
understand.
been a minority? Yeah, have you been a minority there? And on and on. So this story is not only to show our authentic stories and issues that relate to us, but it's also about women and how they really feel and what they are looking at. And it's not necessarily the same as what the media is trying to tell everybody. And but we need to hear
Yeah.
them because this is really what's happening in our communities.
Absolutely. Let me get to a couple of questions that have been posted for you on our Dial Interactive board, coming to you courtesy of Meineke Doing Car Care Right. First question from producer Frank. The film swept more than 50 international awards. What has surprised you most about how different audiences reacted when they saw the film? Good question, Frank. Thank you. And you say?
Well, what surprised me is when I tried to talk about the Iraqi American experience, people from different backgrounds will say, but this is us watching this, we didn't feel like this is about the Iraqi American, it's an Iraqi American film. It's just a great film. We love the characters, we love the
Well, that's
story,
what
we
you
love the
want, right?
humor. And that's
Isn't that the
exactly.
reaction that you really crave for that reaction?